every time we go into a meeting, I'll encourage my team to say, "What are you trying to accomplish in this meeting?" Right? So we've got typical standing meetings with hiring teams, and they're great. I'm glad that we have them because we work through pipeline feedback, and so just first of all, having them is important. But then secondly, where we raise it is before we go into it, what showed up last week that's impacting the ability to be successful, and what do you want to make sure happens in this conversation? What's the best way to do it? And do we have data that can support it? And so that's made just that extra bit of intentionality has made a huge difference because, right, if you're on a meeting with seven people, you have a chance to go into it and say, oh, okay, the key takeaway I want this time is, again, maybe it's, feedback loops. Maybe it's, we all agreed to this rising star, but yet the feedback notes we see are, well, they haven't done this before. So this gives us a chance to come back and look at it. Because so much happens in our gut that we operate on, but the data itself might actually be different. So I'm a big fan of, for us first, start first with let's be intentional before we walk into a meeting. Then the second thing is, as I go into any of my senior leadership meetings, making sure, that I've asked my team, again, are there themes you want me to pull through or layer in? So I make sure that I'm using either my OneNote and then the using a like Lattice, for example, and kind of keeping a running list. So it's not just tactically what's showing up, but thematically, how do I make sure that that's talked about? So another area that we work on is we have very responsive compensation plans because we want people to make money real time. So they change every quarter. But part of that is sometimes they can get a little complex. And sometimes people don't understand them. They're not motivated. So, that was a perfect example of where we could talk about it sort of situationally, but also it could come up thematically about, is there a way that from a big picture, we can still get what we need, but in a way that like anybody could jump into the company and understand it. So I think just that little bit of intentionality so that each person is weaving it in and then tracking it. So the last piece is like with our talent leadership team, we keep a running document of what's in flight, what's going on with it. So it's not just our weekly agenda, but it's a good reminder of some of our bigger picture things, which, sometimes don't feel urgent. So they get lost, but they make a big difference. So we can actually track progress against it.